And here we are. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings from Somerville. Special episode today. Return guest. Outside of my brother, who has been on a couple of times, Lori Palminteri is my first ever returning guest.
Huzzah! Huzzah!
Which means I ran out of friends and I had to start recycling them. No, you were episode, I believe, 4, all the way back, the pioneer of this podcast.
Was that 2 years ago?
That was the beginning of last year, the beginning of 2018. Uh-huh. Yeah. We were working at City Steam, Hartford, Connecticut, where I go tomorrow without you.
I know, it's so sad. We're supposed to go together.
That is, if you're going to be depressed with someone somewhere, that is, you are the right person to be with, and that is the right place to be. But no, so you are a fellow comedian, but we took the angle of Surfer Chick, Long Island Surfer Chick. Yes, which I was fascinated, and I owe you an apology. I laughed a little bit. I thought it was so funny to hear, like, you surfed in Long Island. I grew up in Jersey, and I remember, like, we had 2 people who surfed, and I sort of chuckled about it. I've since come to learn it is a real thing. You guys are...
Jersey has an insane surf scene, too. Jersey probably has the best waves on the East Coast.
Is that right?
Yeah, in the States.
And what is a good wave? 5 feet? 3 feet? 4 feet?
Well, it depends what you like, but I mean, as far as, like, it being, like, waves being clean.
Clean means what?
For clean waves, you need the winds to be, like, offshore. Usually depends on the tides, too. So this way it creates a line so you could surf down, like, the line of a wave.
Oh, so otherwise, you can go for a while.
It closes out. It's just, like, white water,
gotcha.
Which is no good. You don't want any part of that.
Okay.
Like, that's why Florida has a lot of waves, but their winds are just terrible. So, like, the waves in Florida, really, we probably have better waves here than Florida.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Those are fighting words.
Mm-hmm.
Now, since we did our podcast, too, I watched Laird Hamilton. Is that right?
Yeah,
Did I get the name right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a documentary about him. I don't remember what it was called. I was in some hotel room in some place, and it was just on loop. So I've watched it about 47 times. It's, one of those things. But fascinating, the whole idea of tow-in surfing. So giant waves that you couldn't possibly go and actually, swim to get onto. So you get towed in by a jet ski, right?
Yeah, I mean, those waves are like 40 feet big. I mean, that is a level of insanity that... I can't even, I get scared in, 6-foot waves. I'm like, oh, this is really scary. I'm scared. But those guys who get, towed into those waves, and I can't even imagine wiping out on that. A lot of those guys, they pop their eardrums when they wipe out.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, you could obviously die. People have died.
Watching this documentary, first of all, the guy limps around, and apparently it's just that, so many get crashed on by enough waves. You're breaking things, and you're hurting things, and turning ankles, and...
Oh, yeah.
And then the board, right? Isn't the board, the most dangerous part? The board will smack you in the head or something.
Yeah, the board, it depends what type of board you're riding, too. A fiberglass board, a board that I'm riding would be... I mean, it definitely hurts me. I've been hit by my board plenty of times. It'll hurt you. But it's your head would go through it before it would knock you out. But if you're riding those big boards, those guns that they ride really big waves, those are a lot denser. You get hit in the head with that, it'll knock you out. You're just gonna get knocked out, yeah.
And then also just the sheer, being held underwater by a giant wave for a long, long time, right? That can kill you, I would think, too.
Oh, for sure. Drowning, so people always are are you afraid of sharks? And I'm like, no, I'm afraid of drowning. I'm just afraid of riptides and drowning way more than I'm afraid of sharks.
Now, as a fairly dark person, I think of surfing. I think of, beach blondes and fun and silliness and everything. And so you are one of my darker friends, I would say. It always amuses me that and you are blonde.
I am blonde.
Yes. Just a depressed surfer chick.
Of a different person in the water. I'm not that good of a surfer. So I'm not hyper competitive, but I definitely I say ridiculous catchphrases, and I singing in the water. I really a whole different person. I'm in the ocean.
Is that true?
Yeah. It's a whole different person.
Well, I want to get to the reason I wanted you to come on, aside from being out of friends, was you went to Costa Rica. for a surfing trip recently, and I just would love to hear all about that. I was very excited for you because you and I compare notes often on how it's going career wise and in life. And one of the things I've never been good at is taking a vacation, taking time for myself, and saying I got to go. Part of the reason this job is so crazy and you have so much forced time off and you're unemployed, involuntarily, that it's hard to say, well, I'm just going to treat myself. And you did. You said, never mind, life is now, money, whatever. I'm going to Costa Rica to surf, and you went with your brother.
Yeah, well, I'm obviously poor Canadian. I live my life month to month. I have no money, but I had a good gig. It made a nice check. I turned 30 this year too, which was another thing where I was
Happy
you know
birthday.
what, I'm gonna go to, but it wasn't really that expensive. The airfare round trip was $383.
That's not terrible.
And then for 10 days, 9 nights, the hotel was $740, and my brother and I split that.
Oh wow!
So it's not a break your bank vacation.
That's very doable, actually. Under $1,000 for a 10-day trip.
Yeah, and then obviously food, excursions, whatever you're gonna do there.
Okay.
And Costa Rica is weird because it's ghetto in some ways and then nice in other ways. It's not unsafe. The biggest thing is petty theft. You have to worry about you can't leave stuff on the beach or anything, but it's not a violent place. They're pretty chill people.
Well, take us from the beginning. How did you choose Costa Rica? Is it known for being good surf?
Yes, Costa Rica is known for being a very consistent surf spot. You're booking a surf vacation. You're all right, you don't know how the waves are going to be. It's a complete gamble. Obviously, Hawaii, you're guaranteed to have good waves.
Right.
There's certain places where it's it's a safe bet. But Costa Rica was supposed to be one of the safer bets of having good waves. But additionally, my brother had been to Nicaragua, which is not as built up. I wasn't as into that. But they also have the rainforest. So I was I also want to do that stuff because I'm a big nature. I watch nature documentaries all the time. It's just I just watch them constantly. I think I've watched both Planet Earths 4 times each. I just sit and I just watch them all the time. So yeah, I was I had that gig. I booked the flight. I told my brother. I figured it'd be pretty easy sell for him because he's a much better surfer than me. And then he booked the flight too. So then we were going to Costa Rica.
Perfect. And what does your brother do?
He's a waiter. He sometimes works at McGuire's Comedy Club out east. Then he also works for a friend of his restaurant.
So he's in the New York area.
He also has the flexibility. So
gotcha.
We both have that which is also good too. When I was looking up flights, it was I'm just gonna pick whatever's the cheapest time. It doesn't matter. I'm just gonna pick the cheapest time and pick those days.
And how did you find your hotel? Where did you stay? And was it surf related or was it just the price?
Both. I wanted to be walkable distance to the beach. I want to be able to walk across the street and go to the beach. I found that on bookings.com and it had a lot of really good ratings. I really liked that hotel. It was technically a boutique hostel, but we had our own private
room. Okay.
And I wasn't good. Thank God we didn't share a bathroom with anybody because we both got violently sick.
That was I was going to say you weren't there very
bathroom.
Long before you got food poisoning. Is that what?
48 hours.
Are you kidding me? What? Now tell us about that. I don't want to drudge up the ugliness, but yeah. And your brother also got sick.
He also got sick too. We both got sick.
Same place, same.
We both got sick, but how it affected us was a little bit differently. The first time I was way worse. Actually, I was way worse both times. And he had I was getting really bad stomach cramps, and he didn't get stomach cramps till the end. Once he threw up and purged, he was fine. Or I was doubled over.
Was it one restaurant you went to, or was it? Could you pinpoint where it was?
First I was that's what I said too. I was I don't know if it's the food or it's the water, but we were talking to this one guy. Who lived there, and we were saying how we didn't know how we got sick. And we suggested it be the water, and the guy goes, "You could drink our water here. We're not Mexico."
Oh my! Jeez.
He was so annoyed at it. I think anytime you travel to a place like that, you sort of expect your stomach to go on the fritz a little bit. I was kind of expecting that to happen, but not. That first time I was sick, It really was Team America World Police, that scene where he's just projectile vomiting. It was bad.
Good Lord. And that was the beginning of your trip.
Yeah.
That's no way to start.
Yeah, it wasn't great. Well, once it was out of me and I was feeling better, I was like, oh, okay, this is just something that was in me that needed to get out. Like, as long as it's not a continued thing, like I'll be all right. But
Okay.
I went hiking that same day that I.
Did you really?
Yeah, so I was sick that night into the morning, throwing up,
Jeez.
and then we had the plans to go to Manuel like park where it's like, it's one of the rainforests. It's actually the smallest rainforest like park there, but it's the most popular one to go to. And I was like, yeah, let's just go. I was like, it'll be fine.
Good Lord.
I'm very strong. Like, I'm very stubborn about something.
Yeah, you're a trooper. Okay.
And also, it's midday, Central America. It's 90 degrees out. So we started.
You'll sweat it out, yeah.
We got sort of hoodwinked into hiring a tour guide in the parking lot, but it ended up working out good because he had one of those really good scopes. And they spot. I don't know how they see these. Like see the sloths, like
an actual like telescope,
right?
Thing? Okay. Oh wow. And what does that do?
To spot like all the animals. The sloths. We were walking down like the path, and the guy. I don't know how they spot any of these things. He'd be like, "Oh, there's a sloth up there." And I'm like, "What?" And I look at him. I'm like, "I don't see anything up there." And then he sets up the scope, and you're like, "Oh yeah, there is indeed a sloth
real
up there."
sloth.
There were some of the sloths you could see. They were closer. You could just see them by.
And are they really just big old sloth? Because I've been called a sloth before, but I've never.
They're so weird. I mean, they're so weird. Like, they're very cute and weird. They're just hiding up there. I mean, some of them are, close to extinction. But it's almost amazing that they're not all extinct. They have no defense mechanism. They just sit there. And this is what's so funny about sloths. So they have like a couple different. I think they have 3 chambers of their stomach, so they don't poop that much.
Really?
Unlike me in Costa Rica. So they don't poop that much, and when they do, they climb down the tree very slowly.
Okay.
And then they poop on the ground, and then they bury the poop so that this way predators don't know what tree that they're at. Otherwise, they'll find them. So they go on the ground, they poop, and they bury their poop.
Oh my
and then
goodness.
they climb back up the tree.
What are their predators?
Jaguars, monkeys will eat them too, certain monkeys.
Really?
Yeah.
Monkeys?
Oh, yeah, some monkeys are vicious.
Are they? I thought monkeys were friendly little things.
No, it depends on the monkeys.
Wow. I guess so, yeah.
I don't know, probably snakes too.
Really? How big is a sloth?
They're a couple feet big, the adult ones, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I think the jaguars are probably the biggest threat.
You didn't see a jaguar, did you?
No.
Was it a possibility? Like, are they out there?
Yeah, they're out there.
That would be
I
terrifying.
could see them at night. They're the jaguars.
Really?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah, no, I don't think I'd want to see a jaguar.
No. No, I would think so. Was there any, does the guide have, like, a gun or anything? Was there any, way to defend?
In the day, you wouldn't come out
okay.
anyway. It's a pretty popular, park. There's a lot of people that go through there. The monkeys are pretty cool. You can't. We did get to feed the monkeys at a different part though, but in there, they're just jumping all around. They just run across the path. It's really cool watching them swing through the trees like that. They're so cool.
Wow.
And then the funniest thing was seeing that park. There's this bay area. That's very beautiful. It's a lot, the sand there's a lot prettier than Hako where we were staying, which is volcanic sand. So it's that black sand, But they have these beach raccoons, which are they look like our raccoons, are a little bit different, like smaller, their snouts a little bit more pronounced. But they're so funny. I was laughing at the beach because there were these 2 of them. And they're going into this lady's beach bag. The lady's 2 feet away from her. And these raccoons are going through her bag trying to find snacks or whatever. And then she turns around and she screams at them. And then they sort of run away, but then they look back and start hissing at her. And then they just run to the next person's beach bag and do the same exact thing until somebody runs after them. And they run away and they look at them again and they hiss at them. I was like, these are the most hilarious animals I've ever seen. I can watch this all day. These raccoons just go from beach bag to beach bag and then get mad when not.
Same response. So when did you finally surf?
We surfed pretty much every day.
Okay.
The way the tides are, the tides on the Pacific are a lot more drastic than the Atlantic tide. So we surfed in the morning, early in the morning, and then in the evening, the waves were good. So we surfed pretty much every day, almost twice every day.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, which is, the waves were never really that big or that great, but yeah, surfing, I don't know if I've ever surfed 7 days in a row. Maybe when I was in Hawaii, but that just beats your body after a while. Like,
I would
it's
think,
so
yeah.
exhausting.
Physically, yeah. Even
And the hiking,
for me,
too,
putting on a
is-
wetsuit, it would be the
Well, you don't want to put a wetsuit on down there.
no
It's
wetsuit,
too
perfect
hot.
weather.
Oh, it's almost too hot that when it's the midday, like people aren't even outside.
Really?
Yeah, you have to like really break
In
from the sun.
February, huh? Wow.
Well, it's almost right on the equator.
Ah,
Costa Rica.
okay. So that's the real deal. So what do people do there in general? Is it a tourist driven Costa Rica, or is it and what? Because you had some great pictures. You had some pictures. There was some locals. But speaking of, what I loved most about is you look very New York right now. We're all in New York City, and but boy, your pictures on social media, you turned into like fun Lori down there. Like you just your hair looked just not clean.
My hair
and
was just a surf mess.
it was fun, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I'm like a little nature beach person. Like I love all that stuff.
Right.
But it was one time I was I had to, I had work to do, but there was some writing stuff to work on. And one time I'm in the hotel bar, like typing something up. My brother, this girl we met, is trying to convince me to go out. And I'm like, I didn't really drink that much because of my stomach issues. I was too afraid to. And I'm like working on this packet, and they're like trying to convince me to go out. They're like, "It's your vacation. What are you doing?" And then what girl? Her name is Lisa. She starts like waving her hands over my body, like over my face and body, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" And she just goes, "I'm washing the New York off of you. I'm washing."
I love it.
And I was like, fair enough. I really am acting like a New Yorker.
Did you meet locals? Did you go out at night? What did you guys do?
Well, so the hotel we stayed at, even though like Jaco is kind of a tourist spot, there's like the main strip, a lot of restaurants, hotels. That's definitely it is kind of like a little bit. It's definitely a little bit of a Sin City nightlife type there. A lot of bachelor parties and stuff like that. Yeah, the nightlife is not my speed so much.
Was it Americans? Was it people from all over?
A lot of Americans, yeah. But yeah, people from all over too.
Okay.
But we're in our hotel. We had like a little cafe bar area, and it was open to the public, but it was so set back that mostly the public didn't come in, which was nice for me. Probably not good for them. They're trying to draw people in. I'm like, this is great.
No.
Not have anybody coming here at all.
Quiet and yep.
But the cafe really different. The chef back there, and then his girlfriend was the bartender, and they were from Argentina, and they were super cool.
Oh, nice.
I mean, they had a menu, but he would just like cook you whatever you wanted, basically, or like you would like request something and. I like watching him cook. Like, he was such a good cook, very precise. Like, and also it's not like New York. Like, they really take their time over there. Like,
right.
Sometimes we'd be like starving. I'm like, I just need this food right now. I've been surfing for 2 hours.
Can I have
threw up all my food yesterday.
I'm hungry.
I'm so hungry. But yeah, then she made your cocktails. But we befriended them and hung out with them pretty much every night after they wrapped up. Which was much more my speed. I was like, I would crack a couple of beers with them, and
absolutely, yeah. And is there a local cuisine? Are they famous for anything? Is it fish because they're right by the water, or is it?
Yeah, they're a lot of seafood. And
okay.
Well, after we got sick twice, I got to the point where I only was like, I'm only going to get food from the chef at the hotel because I don't know where this other stuff is coming from. That my body is not accepting it, just rejecting it.
Now, you were with your brother, who, without getting too pry too much, he might have met a lady down there based on your social media posts.
Ladies.
A couple ladies, is that right? He's a very handsome guy. I'm not surprised that the ladies chat him up. Okay, did he had a friend or two?
He did.
Okay,
he did, yes.
Anyone he's caring to keep in touch with, or
probably not. No.
Fair enough. And how did that all transpire? And what is that like as a sister to be like, that's my brother and that's another woman? And I've never had a sister in my life, so I don't know what that vibe would be.
I don't know. I guess like it doesn't really faze me at all. I think it's kind of fun. My brother's he's like really like a good-looking, charismatic dude. So girls are always just like phoning over him all the time. I guess maybe it's like. We were obviously people thought we were a couple all the time, which is crazy. We look so much alike. You saw pictures of us. Like
I've seen pictures of you guys. I wouldn't say you look that alike. I mean, I don't say you don't not look alike, but
but a lot of people assume we were a couple, and so we're like, we're brother and sister. Then people usually figure it out. And then one guy was like, oh, well, that's good because now nobody's going to be hitting on your sister. And my brother was like, but nobody's hitting on me. I was like, I'm just going to get her a shirt that says.
More importantly, is he younger brother or older?
He's younger. Yeah,
okay.
He's 2 years younger.
Oh, okay. Excellent. And you guys grew up, because in our first podcast we talked about, I think he's a surfer as well.
Yes.
And you guys grew up pretty close, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah, we're close.
That's all right. So cut to middle of the vacation. You're in true Costa Rica form. Your hair's dirty. You're surfing every day. Is there any inkling? Some people say I'm never going back, or I'm going to make a life change, or I'm going to make. Was there any like awakenings on this trip of you want to do something differently?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, I definitely needed a break. I was definitely in not a great place mentally for a number of reasons. So, like, it definitely was, like, so nice to just get away, like, put that stuff away and surf and be in a place like that. I mean, I guess everybody does sort of like a fantasy where it's like, what if but I would pick Hawaii. Like, Hawaii is my favorite place on the planet, where it's like, if I left stand-up, I would not stay in New York. It's just too hard here. It's like, oh, what if we pursued something? Like, one of the things I say is, if you're not going to do something that you love, then be somewhere that you love.
I like that, actually, yeah.
So, I mean, all the time I'll be like, oh, maybe what if I would be a happier person if I lived in a place like Hawaii or something like that. It's so sunny, beautiful. It's always
beautiful and nice.
You get to do those things. And
and I could open a comedy club in Hawaii, and I promise you, we would be the funniest people. By far. They are wonderful people. They're lovely, but you and I are way funnier.
Oh, for sure. There's no competition, really.
I worked there sometimes, as you know, and I went to an open mic. I flew in a day early, and the hotel was right by this little bar that had open mic, I guess a booked open mic. And so I wandered on down, and I was like, well, this would be kind of funny. Maybe I'll see if I can get on. And they were like, oh, yeah, man, I don't know. Like, it's kind of booked. It's sort of not just for anyone. I was like, oh, okay, well, I was on Letterman 4 times. And, here's my, and I drew.
Open mic.
And, yeah, exactly. And I I was like, I'm not trying to be a jerk. I was like, hey, I'm not nobody. I'm not, and they looked, and so I brought up, like, I Googled my name for them. I'm like, oh, look, I actually do this. This is what I do. Again, not at all trying to be, cocky, just like showing them. Like, I'm not a random guy from the bar wandering in. And they were looking and like, yeah, we're not, I don't know, man. Kind of, I was like, oh.
That's so funny.
You mean the letter? So I stayed, though, and watched, and it was brutal. Brutal jokes about traffic cones and things. They're just like, oh, my goodness. It was rough. And I was like, I don't think I'd want to be on that show. Well, I can't thank you enough for coming by. Always a pleasure. Our first repeat guest. First unrelated repeat guest. And what's the rest of the year hold for you? I know you're working hard. You're writing a lot. What any big things on the horizon that all our listeners should be looking out for?
Let's see. Doing the Borgata. You're doing Borgata next week. We keep missing each other on these gigs, like narrowly.
Yes, it's a fun gig. I mean,
it's a good gig.
Yeah, nice casino, nice room. You feel good about yourself, and
it's a nice gig. Yeah, for sure. It's a nice paycheck too. It's another thing where I was like, maybe I'll just go on another surf trip. But I'm like, no, wait, you need to not do this.
I think you should make it a routine, don't you think? Make it part of I think you should make it a routine. Like every year you go somewhere.
Every year, maybe. We'll see. Yeah. We'll see what the world. But then, I got to go to LA this year at some point to pitch a script to my writing partner, which probably won't sell, but that will be that's something to look forward to / dread the pitching process.
I know how much you love promoting yourself.
Right.
Well, that's why I'll do it for you. Ladies and gentlemen, Lori Palminteri is here. She's a surfer, also a wonderful comedian and writer, and we thank you for coming by.
Thanks for having me.
I'll talk to you guys later. Like, rate, and review us on iTunes, and we'll talk to you next time.